the neighboring country, Sudan, is really worrying the region. Because in 2018, there was a peace agreement within Sudan where we saw Salva Kiir becoming president and his vice president, Dr. Machar. Let me go back to background. See, we have three people who were fighting for independence of Sudan. We had John Garang in Sudan for South Sudan to become independent. So they're fighting in Sudan to have independence for South Sudan. We had John Garang, we had Fakir, and we had Machar. They were all in the same struggle, trying to get independence for South Sudan. And in 2005, we lost John Garang in a helicopter crash going to Uganda and was replaced by Salva Kiir. And Salva Kiir became leader, and the vice was Dr. Machar. When they got independent in 2011, they formed the government. In 2018, they had the peace agreement. But between 2011 and 2018, they had 5 years war between them who were fighting. So we saw in 2018, they had the peace agreement where Salva Kiir became president and Dr. Machar became vice president. What is worrying us now is on the 26th of March, the South Sudan government, South Sudan president decided to arrest the vice president. This happened due to killings. Some armed group killed 250 soldiers, government soldiers, and the government was accusing the vice president to be the person who ordered that. And the vice president said he's got nothing to do with this. And this broke the peace agreement because as we're talking, the vice president is in the house arrest. There will be, he was charged 11th September, so a few days ago. And the peace agreement, they were supposed to have elections next year. And now all seems to be falling apart. So now that's why we say the neighboring country of Congo, Sudan, South of Sudan, is worrying us. So the situation in Sudan is very shaky. It looks like we're on the brink of very long conflict again in Sudan. Dr. Mohammed, what's going on in Sudan is very worrying, like we say. In South of Sudan, yeah. It's very worrying. You know the situation was going. What has just happened in Sudan? You, yourself, as a political analyst, where do you see the situation going?
I think, anyway, no need for correction. Both Sudan and South Sudan are going exactly through the same crisis.
Because already war in South
These two generals destroying the country,
Yeah.
trying to get their own peace. It's like exactly the same thing.
It's South Sudan.
South Sudan, they care, the president and the vice president, Mashama. Same thing with Sudan, General Burhan and the Hemeti. It's like those two guys, they got access to resources and guns, and they recruit people, they start killing their own people. It's
But it's really sad to see these guys who were fighting alongside each other for the independence. Now they have got the independence. They start.
Yeah, that's why I'm linking it all together. Because see, it's the same narrative. There was a revolution, so-called revolution in Sudan. They remove who they call a dictator,
Bashir,
and they replaced themselves with him. And this was the chair, and this was the vice, the assistant. It's the same thing with the South Sudan. They say, okay, we are this ethnic group, we want to get independence. This, like you rightly pointed, this was the president, this one is the vice, and now each other are fighting. So that's just the summary of it. And the summary of it all is just one person want to grab the power. Exactly. But you know what? Go to their neighboring country, Libya. This is exactly what is happening. Haftar Khalifa with the ones in Tripoli fighting each other. That was what happened in Syria for how many years? Like, it's the same narrative, same thing.
It was all greed, all about power
They will
grabbing.
come with something like in Sudan, South Sudan was ethnicity and religion. Okay, now in the main Sudan is the same religion, the same ethnicity, but they still have another reason. So that's where people even need to outgrow all this nonsense. Don't let somebody deceive you. They will always have a reason to justify their action. So in South Sudan, it was tribal, it was religion. But now the same tribe, the same religion, they are fighting because what? It's all about power. And we must not forget the external influence. People try to use the same local people to control and steal the resources.
Junior Badila, you as a professional journalist, the whole situation, because like I said, is very worrying. We might see another civil war in Sudan. Because now, Vice President's party is being treated as opposition because the peace process is being broken. The government is still there, but all the people in the government, as part of Vice President, they all pulled out. Now they're calling the population to be ready, as they're waiting for the court next month to see what's going to go. How is it going to go? Where it will go. And the vice president said, I'm innocent. I don't know anything about this. I'm sorry, we can't go to court. So, like we say, you as a professional journalist, what do you make of it?
I think Riek Machar has been a very controversial figure since John Garang. You remember John Garang as his lieutenants, I mean the allies, Salva Kiir and Riek Machar. They were very close to John Garang. John Garang was a unifying figure, not just for South Sudan, for the entire Sudan. I think that's why some of the commentators are saying that that's the reason why he was killed. He was vice president of Omar Bashir. Vice president. He was appointed as vice president in 2005. It was not really, obviously, he was fighting for the freedom of South Sudan.
Yeah, this is a very good point to mention. John Garang was fighting for unified Sudan, for democracy in Sudan. Then, ideas of South Sudan breaking from Sudan was not really his cup of tea, was it?
No, necessarily. John Garang was not fighting to break through. Obviously, he was fighting for the right of underprivileged black population. We were Christian on the south, Noah and Dinka on the south. He was claiming, he said, we need to fight because Sudan is a rich country, oil, rich
gold,
but I'm representing the less privileged population.
We need to be treated as black Sudanese citizens.
We need to be treated as Sudanese people. But Noah, Dinka, some of his allies, like Salva Kiir, Riek Machar, they were not pushing to that unifying Sudan. They were pushing for independence of South Sudan as a Juba as a capital. But there was no John Garang name. When John Garang passed away, I think John Garang passed away in 2005.
2005, exactly when
South Sudan
was appointed vice president.
As a vice president. Both of them, Omar al-Bashir and John Garang, they were working together in the same government.
Then he went to die in a helicopter crash.
When he died in a helicopter crash coming from Entebbe,
Uganda,
I think coming from Uganda in 2005. But what happened in 2011, South Sudan gained independence with Salva Kiir and Riek Machar. Because both of them, they were pushing for independence of South Sudan with Sudan People Liberation Movement. But what happened? Both of them, as you just mentioned it, Dr. Mo, both of them, you were fighting for the same causes. But later on, you start fighting between. There were internal conflict between Riek Machar and Salva Kiir. And you know what happened? I think in 2018, that's where they signed a peace agreement between Sudan People Liberation Movement with Salva Kiir and Sudan People Liberation Movement internal opposition. It's the same party, but internal opposition. They both signed an agreement in 2018,
yeah.
which never worked. So now with the accusation of Riek Machar for treason, for
war
crimes, crimes against humanity,
yeah.
it is posing a jeopardy. This is a jeopardy for the stability and peace for South Sudan.
Dr. Machar people are saying no. The president's side, they're saying this should not be, the 2018 accord should not be compromised, because this just happened a few weeks ago when soldiers were killed, 250 soldiers. This is what Machar has been accused of. They're saying no, this does not count for them. And on the other side, Machar people say no, you guys are doing this because you know the election are next year, and you don't want him as opposition leader. That's why he's under arrest. So for them, he said, no, I don't know anything about these killings. I got nothing to do with it. I'm ready to go to court and I'll show my innocence. And now everyone is waiting for what's going to happen now during his case in court. And everybody's just really ready, and both sides are getting ready to see what's going to happen. Dr. Mohammed, I see you smiling a little bit.
Yeah, well, I'm supposed to be maybe shedding tears because it's sad. You know, I'm just trying to play it down emotionally because it's just sad. If you look at all the parameters,
yeah,
like I said, I don't know if you've not seen it, but for me, it's very, very clear. The comparison between South Sudan and even Libya.
Sometimes getting confused. Sometimes
they will get an issue, an excuse, and sometimes it's not out of nothing. There was, and there were, I believe, up to now, a racial disparity in Sudan. Even like you said, South Sudan, the dark black, and they are Christians. But if you take Darfur, they are Muslims, but they are black, and they were stigmatized.
Difference, yeah.
There was, and both sides, if people were very aware of the Darfur crisis, which is not part of South Sudan, it's all still Sudan. That happened, and some people rise up pretending they champion the cause of their people, because I always say pretend, because immediately after you get independence or the conflict is resolved, now you go back within your same people and you are tyrannizing them.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with Libya.
Yeah.
They say, oh, Gaddafi is a dictator. They want democracy. They champion democracy. So see the champions of democracy where up to now people are killed. It's land of trafficking, slavery, exploitation, a lot of things, horrible things going in Libya. And these are people who came together and say, we are rebels for democracy. Gaddafi is devil, is whatever. We want to liberate you. And now say, okay, take the country and the people. The same thing with South Sudan. And it's sad, because that's what I'm saying. It goes back to many other instances. Even Congo, kind of, you will see the play there. When two people, it's just more about, I want power.
Yeah.
Well, we saw people throwing out Mobutu, who I never liked and I will never like. Yeah. It's no more, but at least when you say he's doing horrible, you throw him out. Come there, do something different.
Exactly.
You enter, the same people that brought you will start fighting you because they didn't have enough. Like,
talking about that, Doctor, I like the commentary of, I like that commentator Robert Kagan, it's American commentator. There was one of the columns, he made it clear. He asked himself, I like that, the myth of modernizing dictators. So we're trying to go back to the dictators now to try to reflect on what they have achieved. Some of the dictators, what they have achieved as a legacy in terms of peace, in terms of economy, stability. That's why today you see people have some myths on Hitler. Some have some myths on Mussolini. Some have some myths on Mobutu, you just mentioned here. Some have a bit on talking about Gaddafi. People now, they try to reflect on Gaddafi era that we had a peace.
Saddam.
With Saddam
in Iraq.
Iraq, even. That's why people still asking, should we have a dictator or a very authoritarian regime before we moved into democracy? We've seen that in South Korea. We've seen that in South Korea.
But today, this one, yesterday, you mentioned South Korea. To hit on that point, the day before yesterday, there was a conference held in Ghana by our former Nigerian president, His Excellency Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. And they discussed this issue where he said, after they asked this question, what happened? The Asian tigers, most of the countries, Singapore, Malaysia, you know that Indochina, Indonesia, they were at par with a lot of African countries. But he said they discussed Nigeria in particular. And what happened? Today you cannot. There is no way you will ever come. It will be more like you want to ridicule Nigeria to compare us with Singapore or Malaysia. And he was like, so what happened? And part of what they concluded is the question, I think the theme of the conversation is why democracies die. Or how, something like that. How democracy dies or why. So he said one thing that was clear by some researchers took up as a challenge to go and do research and see what are the characteristics, what led to, like we said, go into the detail and see. Part of that is this issue of leadership. Most of this country have strong leaders for years. Take Singapore.
Yeah, very strong leadership.
One leader, Lee Kuan-yew, for years. Malaysia, Mahathir Mohamad, for years.
South Korea with Chu.
So it's like what you are saying, and sometimes I don't see, I'm being honest. There is no way you will compare maybe other countries. I may not say Mobutu was doing better compared to the resources in Congo, or even Saddam. I agree there was a lot of horrible wars. But if you look at Libya, the way it was transformed and the welfare they were getting, and then you compare it with modern day Libya.
We'll get into Libya.
So to your point, what I'm trying to say is like the question. So sometimes it's like when you have a stability under a leader, there should be very serious question before you think of overthrowing that leader, and don't go for anything less. And all these false promises, fantasy, utopia world, because as it you throw and destroy what you have, and then you get worse by far. South Sudan, Libya, all in Africa we are seeing, even Congo. There isn't, I don't see anything better than the Mobutu days. What's there? It's this, in fact, instability more. You just say, okay, worse, there is poverty, there is this, but at least you have a bit of stability. At least a bit of stability. People know there is a form of government. You are not occupied by some forces here and there. So.
We have been mentioning Libya in our conversation here. Libya is one of the most prosperous country, if not the most prosperous country, because they had healthcare, they have education free, they had housing, they had almost everything. But they were promised democracy. Like Dr. Mohammed says, they were promised democracy. Is now Libya a democratic country? Libya is now divided into three. You have people who are supporting the Gaddafis, they're there. You got people who are supporting the Marshal and other people of the government. So we don't know exactly what democracy that was promised to Libya has been brought. And some people are thinking that Gaddafi's son, Salif, will be a figure of reconciliation since he's been released from prison. We don't know, because now we just see Libya talking about elections. Some people are saying if Salif become president, then there will be some people trying to get to others. So we're not really sure. But let's hear from Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Mohammed, what democracy for Libya we promised? What is going on now?
I think it doesn't, you don't have to be an international relation or political scientist or international analyst to understand. There is nothing like democracy now in Libya. Libya is now the trafficking route of many things, drugs, immigrants, many things. Like it's the hope of instability because you don't have one government intact coordinating and controlling the whole country. It's just destabilized. That's it. There is nothing like democracy. They are even trying to survive.
Where life was really good, now they're trying to survive.
Yeah, they destroy it.
That's what I was saying.
Promising, talk, it's very easy to talk, but when it comes to action, implementation, and that's how it always have to, you need to be very careful, especially the external powers, forces, pushing people, telling you your country is horrible, is bad, do this. They will promise you heaven and earth. But once the reality kick in, and then that's the problem, people will inflame the fire. But when the house is catch up, is in fire, they will not come to rescue you because people have too many problems. So sometimes they will just ignore you, and the world is highly volatile, too much instability. So you think the European powers, NATO bombed, they put no-fly zone in Libya. Now they are busy with Russia. You think they will have time for Libya?
That's a good question. Gina Matila. Some Libyans think Saif Gaddafi, who is Gaddafi's son, could be a unifying figure if he takes the head of Libya.
Yeah, but we need to bear in mind this is not the first time he has registered to run for election in Libya.
Yeah,
I think this is the second time. After he was acquitted for ICC. He was accused by ICC for crime against humanity. He was even arrested. In his own country. He didn't want to leave Libya.
He was tortured, arrested.
And arrested, but he's still there. That's what I think we've been discussing that. Gaddafi names only still draws followers up to now from his past, from his legacies.
And I think not only in Libya, across Africa.
Unifying Africa as a whole. Today we're talking about I was discussing with few colleagues within the AUK radio here. Today we're talking about African Free Trade, African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. But that was Gaddafi's idea, that we need to come as a whole, as a continent, with one currency, with a free movement. We're talking about passport across Sahel. They're talking about free movement between them. Some of the African countries like Kenya, they remove passport for all African. I think Kenya, I think Tanzania as well, they remove passport. I think visa is a visa free for some of African travelers. So that was Gaddafi legacy. That was Gaddafi was advocating. Talking about Saif al-Islam, so because he's the son of Gaddafi, a Gaddafi name still draw followers, and is seen, as you mentioned, Philippe, as a unifying figures from Libya. Two generals have been fighting since Gaddafi passed away, just like Sudan, as we say here. It's something, nothing's happened, that people think that Saif al-Islam or unifying.
So you think they're just being nostalgic? Or can be reality, what they're saying?
Not just nostalgic, but I think they think that that guy...
he can do actually something. Could be in...
He can offer. Yeah. He can offer according...
Or can't get any worse compared to people who are there.
People think that he can offer according to his dad, the legacy. Because he was around his dad. He was trying to unify the country. He's seen what his dad has achieved. So he grew up in his dad's academy or school area. So he knows how to unify. He has he has a trust of a few militia. He has a trust of army, trust of population, and he can run. That's the question internally. But now, I think other factor, as you say, we need to put into context the current situation Libya is now. We need to put that context. Libya, in terms of Gaddafi, when Gaddafi organized the coup, that was in 1969 against the King Idris, is totally different than the Libya now. You mentioned something key, the crisis, the current, Doctor, you mentioned that the current crisis now is Russia and Ukraine. That's a well-known crisis that the global power tried to resolve. So Libya, South Sudan, Congo, they're not really on the top priority of a global agenda. So if Saif al-Islam managed to come back to the power, do we think that he will still have the same maneuver that his dad has? That's the question that we...
Dr. Mohammed, what do you think? You think Saif al-Islam Gaddafi will be good? Because people will trust him because they're still remembering of his dad. That's the most important. If people are trusting you, people are behind you, already you have legitimacy and you can do a lot. People are ruling Libya now. If you compare to Saif al-Islam, I can't say he's going to do better. I don't know. But as long as you have people behind you, I think something can be done. Do you see him as a unifying figure? You see him as somebody who can change things?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Gino have said it all. These two things are very clear. He has the name. The name
Gaddafi's
of
name.
the Gaddafis. So that name alone will help in at least, rallying around people. He has that potential. It can be a unifying figure too, which is a very good and legitimate point that Gino also raised, is the tutorship. If truly he was mentored, he learned, he was within the corridor of power and he learned, there is no way, I believe, any Libyan, if you trade half of what they were getting during Gaddafi, with the reality now, they will take half. So if Saif al-Islam will took them to even half of what his father did, I believe they will all vouch for it. And I don't see most Arab countries, and that's the funny and the irony, they are monarchies, absolute monarchy. Saudi Arabia, Qatar will come to UK, they roll the red carpet for them, and America, but they say Gaddafi is a dictator. But like, hello, you deal with monarchies, like absolute monarchies. Like most Arab countries are absolute monarchies. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan, are like. So it doesn't matter to me, honestly, and I don't see any reason for now. I will say go and destroy Qatar to bring democracy, or Saudi Arabia. At least it doesn't mean I agree with the model, but there is peace, there is stability, there is progress. And if the majority agree, leave them. You don't have to impose your own lifestyle. The way I will not say somebody should impose monarchy in America. Leave them. So I believe if that's the trajectory the Arab countries took and there have been stability, if Saif al-Islam, Gaddafi will have that ability to bring that, I believe is a good thing. They should try, because, well, these ones have failed. It's very, very clear. And definitely coming with that experience, also with the love for the people and with, the spirit of forgiveness, reconciliation, I believe he can achieve something. Yeah, it's a trial and error. This is theory, but I think
the only issue he might encounter in terms of global power or superpower, I think the relationship with the West. That's the only issues that he may struggle with. The relationship with France, we know about the founding of Gaddafi, Sarkozy. I think the founding of the Gaddafi to Sarkozy campaign is still issue now. That's what even Sarkozy was accused of or prosecuted for. So that one issues that he may struggle with because we know that France is one of the five member of UN Security Council, and it will be Washington as well. So we need to bear in mind that Paris, London, Washington, they all play a crucial role within the dismantle of Libya, with the current crisis they're playing. OTAN, NATO was involved. We know that. Right. That's the only issue Saif al-Islam may struggle with.
But still, Junior, not cutting you, I don't see even that as a big deal now, especially with Trump in America. They are transactional. And well over years, a lot of this, see, France now are struggling political crisis. They are in another level. And everybody in Europe want to address the issue of immigration. So a stable Libya is good for them. But the main point I want to say is like, did you actually see what happened in Syria? Do you know who now they recognize as president? So like these guys don't take them serious. Like somebody they declare terrorist tomorrow can be a president today. So like, it's just interest if you know how to negotiate and like, what to push. That's how I see it.
Well, all transactional.
It's transactional. If somebody can be recognized as president in Syria, who FBI put their list wanted, well-known public, but France was saying, oh, we withdraw all the sanctions, we recognize him, this. So try anything with them. It's just if you know how to negotiate.
So where the interest lies.
The interest is always shift.
It's
from
shift
one context
accordingly.
in with the speed of light. That's how.
Well, from Congo to Sudan to Libya, trouble going on everywhere. If we look at it, it's all about power grabbing, greed. People want more and more and more. They're putting themselves first until people are putting their citizens first. I'm sure if they put their citizens first, all this trouble will not be there. So you leaders, please put people first. And then everything else will come on top. TV is about time, and time is all we have. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye now.